Alright, so you want to know how to build Oraxia, but you don't know which way to build her? Well, I have two builds for you. They're not beginner friendly, they're pretty heavy on both Archon shards and just mods in general. So, I guess without me really wasting your time, let's just jump into what I have in the helmet, and then I'll break down the fun interaction I have with the Cougar Sobek, and kind of show you the showcases of both builds, but first we're going to start with the run and gun build, and then we'll work our way to the summon build, the more fun build in my opinion. This video was shot in front of a live studio audience at twitch.tv/verysmalllight. We'll start with the shards. The shards will make more sense to start off with, then we'll go to the helmet ability. I'll give you a few options, and then we'll go from there. So, we're starting with a run and gun build. Just disclaimer again. Run and gun build start, summoner build last. So if you want the summoner build and you don't want the run and gun build, skip through the VOD near the end. I'm not too sure how to make timestamps, so you'll just kind of have to click through and find out. But yeah, no. Run and gun build. So there are only 2 shards you need, and the base shard's pretty easy to get. You're really looking at the corrosive shard here, mainly to increase the corrosive stack by 2. You only really need 2, so you'll be focusing on 2 corrosive shards for the corrosive stacks. We'll get into why in a bit. And now you will have 3 flex slots. Do whatever you want with them. You could either use it for cost speed, ability strength, or ability duration. I would say a duration or cost speed would be your best friend. Even energy, if you're struggling on energy. I don't think you should be struggling on energy, but some people do. Sometimes I do, every once in a while when I'm not keeping track of my fucking energy pool. So, helmet ability. Now, this might be kinda controversial, but I kinda got rid of Oraxia's 1. Her 1 gives us energy/health orbs upon just finishing an enemy. So we're using that as our helmet slip. Now, you're probably wondering why that and not like the 4. Well, if you're wanting an ability boost, like an ability booster, let's just say that, I don't really know, forget the word, the English terminology escapes my brain right now. We'll just go roar, there. Roar, this easy buff. You cannot have roar and another buffing ability. It will force you to get rid of said ability. Oops, what did I press? There we go. So without that, roar is just off the table completely, because we want Oraxia's 4. Oraxia's 4 is kinda the bare bones of the frame itself. Yeah, bare bones? Nah, we're rolling with that! But no, so I'll give you like what I kinda just helmethed on. So, that being said, easy thing is, I forgot how to spell nourish, but nourish, we're using nourish mainly for the corrosive, no, viral, yeah. Why did I think it had corrosive? We're using it for the viral status. It helps with energy too, but again, mainly focusing on the viral status with nourish. It's also just very handy to have in general. So again, we're helmeting over the 1. We'll go here. Now, things may look a little bit odd once I like kind of move myself or just take myself off screen. But with her run and gun build, it's pretty simple to build. We're mainly focusing on range and a tad bit of ability strength. Mainly range. Now, you're probably wondering, why the fuck range? Well, you know how I said there's gonna be a fun little interaction with a gun called a Cougar Sobek? I may have not actually said that. I think that might be a take before that, but just in case I didn't, there's a fun little interaction with the Cougar Sobek, which will be kind of what I'll be showcasing to you with the run and gun build. So, like I said, we're using Nourish over the 1, far superior in my brain. Nourish is always just a nice little additive to stay on top of energy and just have a free status. Now, with range, her Webbed Embrace, also I like to call it AoE and Snare, is kind of what we're focusing on here. Reasons why I'll show you in the showcase. It's hard to explain, but it's very easy. Just ensnare your enemies. And since it's just on a gun build, you're just blasting through your enemies. Now, we will be focusing on Widow's Brood with her little scuttlers that just deals toxin to your enemies, which is fun. Fun and dandy little status stuff. And then your 4, which you'll be constantly staying into, because as you can tell, her health bar is non-existent. But in her 4, it is... Oh god, she's a health tank. But yeah, so with that ability breakdown kind of done with her, what we're working with, let's just kind of go look at the mods and arcanes. So, like I said, we're mainly focusing on range and a tad bit of strength. So, growing power in the aura, preparation so we're not having to wait around for, like, energy pads and all that, so we can just jump in, like, and cast stuff immediately. Using Prime Flow for energy. Prime Flow is always good for energy, especially if you're heavy casting. Fucking Precision Intensify, I don't know why I blanked on that. 90% ability strength for your 4th ability, which, again, you'll be in all the time, so that's gonna be constantly up. Again, stretch for range. Equilibrium, we all know why we're using Equilibrium. It's pretty easy. If you don't know, it's mainly for that energy, like, sustain. Energy sustain is really huge here. And then we got Archon Continuity. Now, a lot of you probably be like, Grammy, what the fuck are we using this for? Main reason, yes, we got the duration, but, you know how I said the scholars do toxin? This will help. Toxin status effects will also apply a corrosive effect. That's why we're using 2 base corrosive shards. This will just stack and help our scuttlers completely. A little tidbit about the scuttler, and keep this in mind for later. A lot of you may not know this, or maybe a lot of you would. Scuttlers count as companions, as well as an ability. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, so that's why we're using continuity here. Overextended for the range. Yes, it does take half the ability strength away, but it's fine. We're not too worried about that, and we're also using blind rage. Now, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Yeah. Now, so we're using this arcane. Invis arcane. So when you're Invis, I don't know how to pronounce it. But no. When you're Invis, you gain more ability strength, so that's what we're really focusing on. You can kind of see the mindset, like how this is gonna go, the mindset. But yeah, this is kind of what we're working with. Really strong, really easy. Really, like, kinda, you can't fuck this up, unless you die. But yeah, so using Invis arcane so you get more ability strength. Ability strength is gonna be our best friend. But I guess enough yapping. And we will jump straight into it.
And I with your victory.
Goddamn, Tashin. Alright, so like I said, we're using preparation so we don't have to wait for energy pad. Now, this little disclaimer, Curve Showback is kind of something we're gonna demonstrate. I did it kind of tell you, I will show you in the mission, and we'll break down the Curve Showback for you if you want to kind of have the same interaction. You don't have to, but it's up to you. Oh yeah, I forgot alternatives. Now, alternative arcanes, you can run Arcane Avenger on the blank slot we have. Forgot to mention this, I am so sorry. But no, in the arcane slot, there is a blank slot we have. Our second arcane slot's just not there. The reason why I put it like that is mainly because we don't need it. And if you do want to run, like, Arcane Avenger or something, easy little thing you can do is get rid of Growing Power and put Combat Discipline in there so you can trigger Arcane Avenger. But really, that second slot is really up to you what you want to do with it. But anyhow. What a hack, please.
They have just shut down
Now,
all
like
systems.
I
sending
said, we
life
are
support
going in
capsules
our
your way.
forest straight away. Gonna apply Nourish here. Web's Embrace. And, delete the enemy. Yeah. That's the Sobak interaction we have. So, yeah, the Sobak kind of just room nukes everything. So we snare everyone. And kind of just room nuke everyone. This is the run and gun build, guys. How am I? But yeah, so we're basically room nuking with the Sobak pretty easily. I will deploy Scuttlers, but it is, as you can tell, not needed. Yes, this is the boring run and gun build, so you can nuke your enemies, just make sure to ensnare them, and then kind of blast them in the face. And a little explosion radius will happen, and we get to go fun times with this. But yeah, this is the run and gun build. Pretty OP, pretty broken. Like, yeah, it's kind of broken. Now, like I said, the reason why this is a fun little interaction with the Sobak is mainly because a simple mod called, I think it was called Acid Shell. Yeah, I used it for like a build for a Siren Link ages ago. And Acid Shell does a little AoE, and it's, that little AoE goes a long way. But yeah, so if you're using the Creeper Sobak or wanting to use the Creeper Sobak because of this interaction, make sure to have Acid Shell equipped. So you can just, like, go boom, and everything just dies with, like, little to no effort. Now, this will kill an Acolyte, but it's entirely up to how your stuff is modded. And depending on, like, what kind of Acolyte you're dealing with. Now, it's not gonna be a one-shot to the Acolyte, unfortunately. But it's definitely gonna be fun. Now, if you're wondering why I'm saying Invis, it's for that Invis arcane that's, like, basically tailor-made. So, we stay Invis while we're wall latched, and if we become un-Invis, we just go to the next wall. So you're basically staying invis and traveling through the map pretty quickly. But yeah, no, this is a run and gun build. Now, a lot of you may not like it, and that's A-okay, but some of you will. But like I said, you can change things up to your liking. Like, Arcane Avenger is always nice to run, so run that if you really like overgrowing power. You will still have the same effect, but like I said, you just need use combat discipline instead of growing power. Which I feel like a lot of you would like more since this is gun orientated and not so ability costly. But other than that, costing your 2 is pretty prominent. Nourish is an ability you cost. And your 3 is really up to you when you cost it. Same with the 2, but I always like having enemies ensnared into it, so I cost it pretty often. You can have free fields active, but everything goes flat anyways. Oh, thank God. Where is the Acolyte? I suck at shooting the Acolyte. Is the Acolyte immune? Sorry, Acolyte. Don't, this is, yeah, bad aim. Bad aim! But yeah, like I said, you can definitely kill Acolytes. You just will probably not suck at it as much as I did right now. We'll explain the mods, and then I'll go to the... I'll explain the summoner mods, and then I'll explain the shards. Again. Alright, so the helmet is pretty much the same. Nourish, really easy. Really easy thing just to remember. I personally like Nourish on this, like, Oraxia, just so I can stay on top of energy. Because I'm mainly just, like, wall lashing for invis. It's kind of why I like it. Now, I am gonna address this one thing. Some of you say it's bait. I know in my Discord community, a lot of people say, one of the arcanes I use is bait. Arcane Kamisato, for those of you that don't know, increase summon movement speed by 20%. Now, this is pretty big, mainly because without this, and I have tested this multiple times, the scuttlers move a lot slower without Arcane Kamisato. The reason why we're using Arcane Kamisato here is, again, for the ability strength, we'll get up to 60% of it. And the movement speed is mainly to close that gap between enemies. Now, yes, it is pretty noticeable if you have it off and on, so I would say this is gonna be your best friend for the summoner build we're working with here. Now, like I said, this is a summoner build, so we are mainly working with the scuttlers here. Now, through my testing, summoners, Wrath, whatever you want to call it. I just call it summoners, because I don't know how to pronounce the other stuff. Like I said earlier, our scuttlers count as companions, as well as an ability. So we're using this. I have tested this. This does affect it. You have the Grammy stamp, the Grammy stamp of approval. There you go. So with that out of the way, again, we're going for ability strength and mainly focusing on ability strength and some decent amount of range. Why range is mainly for the AoE ensnare, and ability strength, because this goes bounce off ability strength, and duration, we're gonna go that for that, alright? And obviously, R4, because R4 is very, very potent. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot about to say about the 4 with the run and gun build before we delve into this. The run and gun build's really powerful with the Krupa Sobek because we have Toxin being a separate status, so yeah, more status go burr. Now yeah, because the 4 gives us just Toxin damage, which is really, really huge. I always love having, like, separate statuses. I kind of don't remember that as a separate status, because I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, no, it's a separate status. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. There's a lot of things I forgot to mention, and I'm so sorry if my brain's all over the place, but it is what it is, and you're gonna receive this as is. So I'm not gonna, like, heavy edit it. You get to see all my bloopers. But anywho, so again, Blind Rage for the ability strength, overextended for a little bit of range, again. Transient Fortitude for the ability strength. Yes, it does hit our duration, but it's fine. You'll be costing a lot anyways. Flow for the energy. Now, we are using energy conversion here for some ability strength we get from the next cost. Umbral Intensify for the, again, ability strength. And you guessed ya, EQ for the energy system. And then we have, again, Archon Continuity for this Toxin status. That also applies Corrosive status. Now, the Arcanes. I did say the Arcanes we are using is Arcane Kamisato. I'm using Pellicurse here for more ability strength. Now, you can use, what was it? You can use multi-efficiency if you don't want Pellicurse, but main caveat with efficiency is you need shields for this to be active. Our girl here is a health tank, so Pellicurse would be your best bet. Now, it will work even with 200 something shields, but if you want more ability strength, Pelocurse is your man. Alright. So yeah, we're going Kamisato, Pelocurse, and then basically the same setup, just with more ability strength. Now, if we duck over to the shards, right here. Now, 2 shards remain the same, which is the corrosive stacks. So 2 base shards stays the same. The only thing that's different is our Talforge Green. Now, yes, this is a must, otherwise the build kind of just falls apart here. We gain 15 ability damage on enemies affected by corrosive stats. Now, why is this so huge? You're wondering. We have our Scuttlers that apply Toxin, and now with Archon Continuity, it also applies Corrosive. So, this just gives the ability more, raw damage, which is just huge, in my opinion. So we want to rock 3 Talforge of these. Yes, it's very expensive, but oh my god, does it pay off. Yeah. Now, before I do forget, you can run whatever weapon you want, but our Scuttlers are doing majority of the killing. Yes, our Scuttlers do kill things a little bit slower, but like I said, weapons and companions are all up to you. I'm using, again, the Kuva Sorbak, mainly for acid shells, for that corrosive damage and the AoE radius of 15 meters. This is my build for my Sorbak. It's pretty old, but pretty good too. I should probably remove my head, huh? There you go. Now you can see it properly. But yeah, no, that is what I'm using for my Sorbak. But yeah, all the weapons are entirely up to you. There's no companions needed. Unless you're wanting a companion. And now we will duck into our test node. Like I said, we have preparation again. Everything kind of remains the same with our setup. As I stated,
Life support
simple thing to do. Activate Core, activate Nourish,
I'm sending
and cost whatever ability when you need it. So I'm gonna latch on up to here so I can cost things. And have my Scuttlers go out and fuck up the enemy. Now, like I said, the Scuttlers will fuck up everything. I'm just gonna need to get them going a bit. And I'm gonna run out of energy. That's unfortunate. Like I said, even I, kind of just forget energy. But yeah, so the Scuttlers will be doing 90% of the killing for you. But they are kind of slow at killing things, so feel free to kill whenever. If I didn't miss that, that'd be huge. There we go. Now, yeah, the Scuttlers do have their own health pool, but with Arcane Kamisato, they can kill a lot more, a lot faster. But yeah, this is absurd, because I believe these are now one of the best summons that just do outright damage, as you can see. And I do armor strip, so... But kind of just, set out to do whatever they want pretty quickly. And like I said, with a gun, with you, shooting things, it'll be great.
I delivered a life support capsule to the area.
Life support capsule.
Activating it will buy you more time.
Now for my testing, I got to a max of I think 13 summons. But that could be more. I don't know how much they cap off at. But yeah, as you can tell, they are a menace to society. The only thing that is kind of annoying, with the Scuttlers, is mainly they don't really kill Eximus units. You actively kill Eximus units yourself. But yeah, this is a summoner build. I've had, tons of fun with this. It's like, look at these guys go! Look at them. Look at them. Look at them do things. Look at them fuck up the enemy!
Get ready for a
Now,
capsule.
the only caveat with this build is the scholars do not target acolytes. They will target everything else but acolytes. So, again, kind of depends what weapon you're wanting to use. So I recommend just bringing like a good weapon to deal with them. Bow, 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 bow.
Another life support capsule.
We'll just check
is now
down
available.
Nourish again for that over there. But yeah, this is a pretty good broom nuke. You don't have to really like wall latch for this. But yeah. This is the AoE nuke build. AoE nuke build, summoner nuke build. I mean, it's kind of mixed with an AoE nuke as well, we'll just say that. So you can kind of say it both ways. But yeah, this is kind of what I cooked up. Now, you can tell me how you feel about this. Tell me your little, what you set up. And you can tell me what I kind of just misexplaining. Because I can guarantee to you, I did not explain a fair bit. But yeah, that is Summoner build. It's tons of fun. Highly recommend. If you can afford it, definitely build it. I also did not use any, whatchamacallit, Omniformer, because I was just like, the build isn't needed for Omniformer. Now, I did see someone use like a Breach Surge build, which is nice, but that was like, I don't know, wasn't really needed, so to say. But yeah, so this is the Summoner build, more fun build, more build I personally like and will use on my daily. Now, I will say, this build does shine the most in, like, a mission where you're just sitting there, just, like, farming, like, materials. So, like, if you're doing Void Fishes, you'll definitely get the most out of this build. But... And Zen. God damn it.
The operative has just made
The
their first discovery.
operative! But yeah,
Keep up
no,
the good
that
work.
is the Summoner build.
When
The
you
more
need it,
fun build, in my opinion. But that is the builds. I hope you enjoyed the builds. For if you did, maybe consider subscribing, because I do plan to make another build sometime soon. I just don't know on who. Maybe a frame that interests me. Maybe give me a few Warframe suggestions or weapon suggestions. I might make a weapon build around Oraxia's new sidearm secondary. I call it a sidearm because I've been playing other games. Secondary that has been introduced for the best new grouping tool, which I will definitely get around to building sometime this week. But yeah, nah. But yeah, consider subscribing, maybe comment of what I didn't explain, what frames I could possibly build, and really what your build approach was with Oraxia. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you enjoyed the build. Alrighty, lovelies, I'll see you next time.